Are you saying you faked with me?
Yeah.
I just had sex, and it felt so good.
Ain't wrong, now you're single.
What do you know about sexual relations?
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
I'm a little worried about being a slut.
You're listening to the Come With Us podcast, presented by Darling Way, talking the good, the kinky, and the ugly. Here are your hosts, Beth, Aaron, and Tina.
Hello, hello, all you sexy holes and poles and all of you kinky freaksters, whether you're a hedonist, into BDSM, into swinging. Oh, we all have something, right? We all have something. Well, welcome to Come With Us podcast, where you are part of all of the naughty, sexy, fun conversations, and you're just one of us. That's just it. So today we are diving into the BDSM test. The BDSM test. Can you believe there is, in fact, a test? And it is known worldwide. People who are curious about kinky BDSM all flock to it. I'm Beth Darling, your sexy genius, here today with Tina and Aaron. And we want to give you some idea about what's on this kink test, share our results with you, and encourage you to go take it yourself and see what you might not recognize or realize or know about yourself or your partner yet. Welcome, welcome. How are y'all, Aaron and Tina? Are y'all excited about this?
Yeah. I mean, I know Tina is way more because she's like young and on TikTok, and the whole thing went viral on TikTok because everybody... So apparently on TikTok it's been called the Kink Test, and people have enjoyed taking it and then sharing their results with a bunch of fucking complete strangers.
Like what we do here.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? I can't even imagine.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see exactly what comes of this because both of y'all have taken the test, have your results. I'm going to be the guinea pig on the air. I'm going to read the questions as I'm answering them, and then we'll all three share our results. So yeah, let's do what the kids do and take a kink test, apparently.
Okay, and thank you, Aaron, because I took this years ago because I've been active in the kink community and stuff, but you brought it to our attention recently because there was a whole article in the New York Post about this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this kink
because
test
it was
has gone
viral on TikTok.
That's amazing. So now it's like mainstream, right? It's just apparently.
Well, I don't know if it's mainstream, more mainstream than it was before, but I think it's just something that is interesting. More people want to know about, like especially younger people, and I certainly didn't know this existed. So
yeah, I love it because I just didn't know.
And I would say I'm like varied enough, or I've seen enough kink in my life that I would have thought that I would have known most of the stuff on this test, but I don't. Like I'm looking at all the things that are coming up, and it's like pretty detailed. I would say the majority of them I don't actually know what they mean. So I think.
Oh, good. So that's great.
Educate.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to share all of this with people. So, okay. So there's a couple of things. One, to take the test, they offer you, quote, a short version and a long version. I've taken the long version.
I took the long version too.
I'm going to take the short version because that long version is like 80-something questions. We ain't got time for that.
I would say for the long version, definitely it takes more than 10 minutes to answer.
It recommends to take the long version if you already know that you're into some form of the BDSM life.
Yeah, they
right?
also
or the idea of
they
it.
also do ask the same question, like exactly the same question more than once on the long version, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's like your answers change after you've taken it.
I thought it was from different perspectives.
No.
So, because I thought like one question, they might say, do you enjoy being tied up?
I feel like I got that question like multiple times, and then I got the other one.
The other is, do you enjoy tying your partner up?
Yeah, but I think that, I don't know. Yeah. Or maybe it was worded differently, but to me, it was always like the same answer. Okay. And then, like, just to give you like an overview, it's on BDSMtest.org. Like, that's the link. All you have to do is go there.
We'll put that in the show notes too.
Yeah.
BDSMtest.org.
And you don't have to put in your email. You don't have to do anything. You just take the test. There's no like sign up stuff. Don't worry. And then it just gives you your results and stuff. And then obviously if you want more info, you can sign up. They have a resource center and stuff. I'm not sure how good it is, but.
So I would say, again, this test has been around in the kinky community. I think they created maybe 2013 or 2014 or some such.
Looks like it was designed in like, I don't know, 2001.
I know, it's got like a very, very...
Well, right. It wasn't... Right. It's not... it didn't have a lot of funding or anything. This was somebody's just small contribution, really, to the kinky community. And again, kinky is... usually sort of, it's been claimed, if you will, by the BDSM community at large. The kinky community is what they call them.
Yeah.
So it's not supposed to be just here you are, never venture out. It's really designed to give you an idea of things that might appeal to you, and to, again, like people are doing on TikTok, to give you something that you might be able to share with prospective partners to see, oh, look, you do like that. Okay, I like that too. And to go deeper than just okay, I'm straight, or, oh, I'm dominant, or, oh, I'm into this or that, right? Because we all have different levels of things that we enjoy at different, here they rank it by percentages. So,
and it's pretty detailed.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good questions. And so again, they also recognize that as you grow and explore, that your tastes and your desires might change. So they always suggest that you take it more than once and see, are things evolving? Are you more interested in one thing or another, that maybe something you never thought?
There was a thing in the beginning. You can actually sign up with an account, and it will track your so-called progress, I guess.
Yeah. So I like that. But do you want to, let's go ahead and start, I don't know how many questions, but we'll kind of go through that, and then we'll talk about all of the different results and categories, if that's
so
good.
Okay, let's see. Basic info: gender male, age category 31 to 35, orientation heterosexual, language English. Yes, I want the short test, and show me all questions. All right.
I wonder if the questions change based on your sexual orientation.
Well, they do say actually that they are working on expanding. So they, at the beginning, there is a thing that says you might get just different questions than somebody else, in part because they're trying to revise and update questions. So they allow for that. But
let's see. Question 1. I like to be dominated, especially in the bedroom. Okay, so every question goes from either absolutely disagree to absolutely agree, and then there's 5 different, plot points in the middle, so you can get all the way from one to the other.
So it's basically 1 through 7.
Yeah.
With the neutral.
Yeah, with the neutral.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. I like receiving pain during sex / BDSM and seeing the results of it, i.e., bruises, marks, makeup, running by tears, etc. afterwards. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not giving out my answers to this. I'm just reading this so we can react.
I thought you were. Oh, okay.
No, we'll read my results.
Oh, okay.
We'll read my results.
Uh-huh.
I prefer making sexual decisions for my partner, as this gives me more control.
Mm-hmm.
I like forcing my partner into submission much more than them submitting spontaneously.
So you can see where these questions are leading, right? They're taking you, are you basically, how dominant are you? And again, some people, that's like a hell yes all the time. And sometimes the other one is sort of like, sometimes I agree. And then, whatever.
But
I'm
that's
neutral.
kind of just how it starts. And then it kind of delves more into like, one, what type of BDSM type of BDSM you are. And then different like acts in BDSM, like being tied up or being a pet or doing age play and stuff. So it definitely goes through all of that too. So, or at least mine did, this specific one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like to have sex with multiple people at the same time. I enjoy it when people watch me being naked or having sex. I don't like making sexual decisions. I prefer my partner to make them for me. That's page 1. So we're 11% through this. So it's 8-9 pages about.
And I would say like the long one is double that, I think.
Wow.
I am willing to try anything once, even if I don't like it. Even I don't think I will like it. Physically restricting my partner during sex with clothes, attributes, ropes, chains is arousing. I like to be totally helpless at my partner's disposal, physically unable to resist what they do.
Oh, yeah.
I have a thing for large age differences in sexual encounters and relationships. I enjoy playing or acting like a pet or animal.
Okay, so I think that might be a good place for us to stop for a second and talk a little bit about, because I'm guessing that people may not even know how to answer that question because of why. And so when you're thinking about that, maybe you've heard about pony play, maybe you've heard about puppies, or furries is a little bit kind of a different thing, because pets are those that actually do move and stuff, and furries are more about being a stuffed animal, which is inanimate. But even though most of us are like, oh, if you've never thought about this before, you go, oh, I don't want to pretend I'm a puppy or something. I was one of those people, and I totally get that. But there are so many different ways to think about it. So for me, for example, I realized I'm so hyper, right? I'm always fidgeting. I'm always talking and stuff. One of the very few times in life that I calm down and I just stay still and I'm at peace is if I am snuggled up to somebody and they are petting me. Literally, if they're stroking my back, if they're stroking my hair, and that's a little bit like a puppy, because that's what puppies do. They're totally hyper, but if they get on your lap, like they'll just kind of stay. And so things like that, you can find some, again, I'm not saying that you have to claim it or anything, but there might be more to it than what you just initially think about. If you're like, oh, hell, I don't want to, sleep in a cage and drink from a dog bowl. Well, okay.
That's real commitment to the part.
Well, but sometimes that's the turn on. And I know people, I know a happily married couple, I don't know, they 10 or 12 years, and he sleeps in a dog kennel every night next to her bed.
What is he, a little person?
No, it's a big dog kennel. It's just and people build different things. So you just have to find what it is, but don't be afraid to be like, oh, I like this little piece of it. And that's where, again, that the scale of from absolutely I hate it to absolutely I love it, there's this in between. Well, I don't know. I might like a little, might like a little bit of that, and that would be okay.
Interesting.
So.
We continue. Being treated with little or no respect during sex/BDSM arouses me. There is no reason why sex would have to happen in private spaces, isolated from the outside world. So I'm guessing that means like just you and your partner in your bedroom. That's it, right?
Yeah, so that's right.
In a hotel room, like anywhere where, it's just the two of you.
Right. So that's going to be looking at, do you have this urge for, exhibitionism and voyeurism? Would you appreciate sex clubs or
I don't like the
absolutist.
I don't like the absoluteness of it, though.
Yeah, so that's where then you might not put, I absolutely agree. You could put, well, I kind of agree.
But I don't like that question is phrased as an absolute. Like there is no reason whatsoever. Like
right, but that's the whole thing, is that because that question is absolute.
Yeah.
Then you can choose. I don't absolutely agree because it's too absolute, and that's okay.
But when you put the absolute already in there, and you already have absolutes as your options, then you're forcing people to go. But because
in the longer test, they have this question in like different forms too.
Okay.
So I think it's not, and voyeur is one of the categories at the end. So and they rank you on a scale. Of
but the way they phrase it sounds like a yes or no question, and you have 7 options.
Yeah, because you don't. Okay, so and
too
here's
literal.
the thing: they're not. Yeah. These are not professional researchers or anything like that. These are just people who were trying to help people in the community. Yeah. So I won't give them a bad grade because I'm sure all of their questions, could be improved or something, but okay.
I find the romantic aspect in a relationship much more important than the sexual or kinky aspects. I would like to serve in a formal setting with explicit slave training, prescribed physical positions, and rituals.
So those kinds of questions kind of freaked me out because to me, they are also kind of absolute. I get what you're saying. They are I don't know how I would take a neutral stance on that.
There's no dipping your toe. It's
to me, it was really, I don't think I would like this, or nah, I probably do like this or something.
And so I think that's for you, but there are people that, and I forgot which way this was phrased, whether we like it or not. So for example, I am a submissive and I don't need that formal kind of stuff. That's just not a requirement for me, but I could do it. So in fact, I am a little bit
but that question says it should, to me, it should be phrased, or I don't know. Sometimes I like the idea of
but that's I agree. What's that category? It's in between. Sometimes I agree. That's one of the options.
Neutral or no opinion.
No. That's neutral. But then there's one between neutral and absolutely agree.
There's 2 of them in between.
Okay. So what are those options?
If it doesn't give you, it just says
it says at the top.
Oh,
I think.
No. It says absolutely agree, absolutely disagree, 2 blanks, Neutral, no opinion, 2 blanks, absolutely
But I
agree.
think when you hover
Okay.
over it, it might pop
Well,
up.
but so my point is that you don't have to be like, yes, yes, yes. And you don't have to be neutral. You could be like, sure, that might be interesting. Right. So I'm open to it, but it's not like, oh,
Yeah, but for someone who, like me and Aaron, who have relatively low experience in this and not really, I don't know if I would like it or not like it.
Right.
So when I look at a question like that, most of the time I'll be like, no, that's definitely not for me. And to me,
that's okay.
that wasn't even like one of the crazier questions. I don't know if they're going to ask that one, but like one of them is, would you drop everything in your life? Like quit your job, fly around the world for your master or whatever.
And there are people. That's the thing. You think because you don't really know or whatever, but that's the whole point. That this test is used by people who have zero idea about anything to people who are completely committed to BDSM lifestyle. So in fact, there are people that will give up. I know people who have given up everything and moved.
But you don't
to be
think
with a partner.
that is bordering unhealthy? Like an unhealthy sexual practice? Like
No, because it would be if it's a bad move. But there are people get married all the time, and their focus is that marriage is the commitment, and they're going to focus more on that than they're going to on their career or where their family lives.
But this is saying giving up your career in general.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, would you drop everything?
So how do you?
and
how
go
are you?
someplace
But you
else.
wouldn't encourage that for marriage either. I would say.
People do this for marriage all the time. They really do. You meet I know people who have met people internationally,
I get that,
and
but
they've
I'm not
left
saying
everything
that that's
behind.
a great practice
But it's
either.
not the way that one's phrased is that you're not going to work anymore. Like, what do you do? So you both just are going to quit working and just sit there on a beach together?
No,
well, you'd be in a
sorry,
cage.
y'all are reading this from very much you're trying to critique the test. Okay, and I get, and that's why I'm saying do not look at this like this is a professional, serious gauge your life by this test.
But if it's been around this long, you would think they would clean some of that up.
But I'm telling you, I don't think they need to.
But
because
they pose that question.
Listen, because but you guys aren't listening. They're not saying that you never start another career. They're not saying. They're just saying when it comes to the kink world, right? It is actually there is a smaller community of people who are into kinky stuff. So it is not as easy to find somebody in your geographical location that matches your sexual desires. And particularly if you're in a smaller town or something like that, then you might have to be looking elsewhere. And the question is, how important is kink to your happiness and joy?
Okay, but you could pose that for any relationship. I could just reword that question and say, you live in a small town, you can't find someone that you like. Would you move to another town for them?
Right. And that's what this question is saying. And some people would, and some people are like, no, I want to stay where I am. My roots and whatever, more important. Some are saying, no, my love life is more important. That's all this is asking. How important is kinky to your overall scheme of life?
Okay, so here's a question I want to pose. How much does love have to do with it? Because what I gauge from this test is a lot of it's about pleasure, and I get that. I believe in sex for pleasure. It doesn't, always have to have like deeper emotional meaning and stuff. But how much of this is actually tied to love? Like you're in love with your master, in love with this like.
So this is not trying to figure that out. Okay, this is not dealing with the question of who you or what form you want that love to take. It's just saying within your realm of sexy, what are your ideals? What are you looking for? What are you going might you enjoy?
How I read this is that you prioritize sex over everything. You prioritize your sexual.
Wait, that question or the whole test?
Not the question, but people who like seem to answer that on a very like absolute way. Yes. Like I would absolutely be willing to move to another country and drop my job and for sex, for pleasure, or is it for love? Like,
but it would be both, right? Or it could be anything. You're reading something into it. They're simply not addressing what kind of commitment you need with the other person. They're just saying how important is, again, BDSM. So,
but they do actually ask the emotional question. Also.
They ask a couple because one of the categories is vanilla, right? And vanilla is basically what we would think of more traditional, conservative sexual relations, sort of monogamous generally, and not doing things like BDSM, not really acknowledging power dynamics and a power exchange and stuff. So that would be vanilla, is that 1950s traditional version of sex. So they are saying with that question, would you move across the world or something? They're saying, how important is that this BDSM? If you found somebody that you wanted to be your master, whatever your determinations are, however you qualify somebody to be your master would be like, however you qualify this person to be your husband or wife or to live in partner or whatever, would you be willing to move for them? That's all. I think you're reading too much into it and stuff. So, okay, but let's not beat a dead horse. People can take the test and see. Let us know what you think.
Continue.
But go ahead. Yeah, let's go on.
Yeah. Assuming I was single, I would like to join an existing couple or poly group's relationship for sexual and or emotional purposes, which we've covered.
Yeah, again, poly would be like people who are romantically involved with more than one person at a time.
Which we did 2 whole episodes on that. You can go find it in the backlog. Being physically restricted during sex / BDSM with clothes, attributes, rope, chains, etc. is arousing. I enjoy feeling like prey hunted by a predator. Yeah, that's just a weird way of phrasing that.
Well, primal prey is one of the categories here.
Yeah, so when they talk about that, it's this idea that that people like to be chased, right? We've actually adopted this version of chase when we talk about romance and stuff, but it started with really a very physical thing, which is that literally in the animal world, there are animals that will run away and they will then get tackled or pushed into it. Well, here again, everything is based on consent. Let's just be very clear. BDSM, absolutely, the very, very first thing is that there's consent. If there's not consent, it's assault. Okay? So, period. If you're engaging with somebody and you've given consent, then this idea of being the prey is really that you can resist, that you can fight, you can be taken down, you can be grabbed and thrown on the bed. Right? That's the romantic version of prey, is I want you so much and being thrown up against a wall or thrown on the bed. So it's just a question of to what degree you think about that. But that's that primal, like out of control, just animalistic urge, lust, gotta be now. And we're not going to worry about the niceties. We're going to make noises. We're going to release everything. We're going to be aggressive and we're going to get our physical needs met.
Okay. I don't have any specific fetish or non-standard sexual turn-on. Being part of a group of slaves that serves one master / mistress sounds like a life that would really suit me.
That would be like somebody being in a harem or something. Like certainly we've had that for a long time. Those kinds of lifestyles or multiple wives and all these things. So
yeah, you don't see that much in like developed countries.
Yeah, not so much anymore.
Yeah. I would like to be completely tied up during sex / BDSM. I enjoy being kept as a pet in a cage, eating out of a bowl, being petted, caressed, etc. I love seeing the fear in my partner's eyes when they know I'm going to inflict pain on them. I like to be sexually degraded or humiliated by my partners sometimes.
And that, by the way, could be sometimes being called, you're my slut. Because people hear that and they think, oh, that's just like being an asshole. And no. Because again, we're talking about consent. So for example, I'm into some of this, but if you call me fat, that's just mean. That hurts me. That's not fun. That's not sexy. That's code red. No fucking way, period. But within the realm of sort of that sexual degradation can be, oh, you're my little whore, or oh, won't you be my cum slut, or you do anything, you just beg, right? You're just a needy little slut and whatever. Those are ways that it can still be degrading, if you will, and yet still actually kind of weirdly loving and stuff to some people. And it might not be your thing, and that's totally okay. But I don't want you to misunderstand and think that it's about not being kind to somebody. It's just that's weird turn-ons that we all have.
I enjoy playing a different age than what I technically am. Not technically, literally. That's where literally comes in. Like
that would be. Yeah, so that could be people that
like their phrasing on that is wrong. You're not technically, like, I'm not technically 32. No, I literally am 32 years old.
Yeah, there you go. But so that can go all the way from somebody, there are people that like to wear diapers, and be truly cared for and can't do anything on their own. Infantilism is the term for that. All the way up. Then there are what's called littles that might like stuffed animals, and they want to kind of color, and they just want to be really nurtured and protected and kept safe. Then you can go all the way up to like, I say probably I'm kind of a preteen in my relationships, right? I want to be a little bit obnoxious sometimes, but I don't want to color. But I do love candy and ice cream and Disney World, and that's a little bit like a teenager, if you will. So, yeah, that can be age play. All of those things.
I would like to be nothing but a 24/7 sex slave, i.e., not having any human interaction outside of sex and BDSM. Treating my partner with little or no respect during sex or BDSM arouses me. We're almost halfway. Look at this. I like being forced into submission much more than submitting spontaneously.
So that one, like, I totally understand that, because I say I am a submissive, but I'm not a doormat. Like, I'm not just I'm not just like, oh sure, anything. That's just not it. So I do kind of want somebody to really take charge and have consequences if I don't agree, but I'm not going to make it easy for someone.
Let's see, where did I leave off? Okay. I would like it when my partner is completely tied up during sex or BDSM. I have plenty of sexual fantasies that I would like to try out more than most of my kinky peers, which, see, like, for people like Tina and I, like, I don't know, do you talk about kinks with your friends?
Yeah.
Like, full on?
Yeah. But, I
Interesting.
mean, like, I don't think my friends qualified maybe as, like, the most prude group of friends.
Yeah.
And
I don't know how many people who are just trying to, like, find out if they're even into this world are already openly talking about it with people in their social circle.
At least for like the people I know, it's less like that they're not willing to talk about, but more that they just don't have the resources, or they don't know enough about it to like engage in a conversation, because most of them haven't tried it, I would say.
Yeah,
like,
that was me. Until I knew about kinky, I knew nothing, so I wasn't having conversations about this
that's what I'm
stuff.
saying.
It's not
how do you answer that?
Taboo to us.
Well, because people are taking this test and they're at all different levels. So sometimes you don't have anybody, in which case you just put neutral, and sometimes
actually,
you do have people.
I would change my mind on that. I don't know how open people would be to talking about like the like pet thing, like maybe some of these more like the prey thing. I don't know, like the voyeur thing. I don't think so. The being tied up, I don't think so. But like some of these other ones that I didn't really know existed, those are like. More and I'm not here to judge, but they are a little, when you'd say, like, I would say they're a little, like, stranger or a little bit out there. Like,
yeah. They're just more unusual. And
yeah.
Yeah,
so.
And people don't.
So you're right. You're probably, like, maybe they do have these, and they just don't talk about it.
Yeah, like, to me, it would be like I don't know where my peers stand, because I don't talk to my peers about it. Now, if I were to get through this and it was like, hey, maybe you should look into this type of community because you seem to be into it, I would talk to people in said community.
Yeah, which is
but I'm not just going to talk to like my random group of friends like while we're sitting at a bar and be like, by the way, love being tied up. Like, no, that's kind
It's also because like your friends, like, I don't know, they tend to like, I feel like this could also be misconstrued. Like, you don't want to say something serious or like, have some sexual thing, and then like they come back at you and like always like being like, oh, like that's the guy who likes to, be a puppy or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
that's why I think kink communities are good.
Yeah, but see, my thought is that if people are judging you and sort of triggered by you, or find what you do inappropriate, whatever, or something, like at some point there's this value system that says, it's just that's not somebody I want to be friends with.
Okay, but me and Aaron obviously are not on that side, I would say. Like, I know you have this hard stance on that, but I think like there is you have to gauge the situation, gauge like the ability to know when to
you have to know what's really important to you and stuff.
Well, no,
and
I wouldn't phrase it like that.
Well, sure, because here's the thing. It's the same as what being gay used to be. It's the same as like what being bi. Oh yeah, mental health issues.
You cannot tell me that my certain sexual preferences that I want to keep private or don't feel comfortable talking around other people is the same as a sexual orientation that you're born with. So certainly in different groups of people.
No. I'm saying that it should be. That in other words,
yeah, sure, it should be, but it's
people,
not.
Right. So the ones that you consider friends, and I understand I'm not saying you should talk about it or anything. I'm just saying that for people out there, because there are so many who are quiet about what they are interested in because they're worried about being judged. And all I want to do is tell you that you should find people. You deserve to find people that don't judge you just because your tastes are different, as long as it's all about consent. So know that, because otherwise people get stuck, and that's what
not
happened.
the world we live in. Like
bullshit. Okay. No.
Well,
you can find people, right? No, you can find people.
You can definitely find people. So go out and find those people, but you do not have to be friends with the only people who are accepting of all this, certain sexual things.
Her point that she was making was, if I were to go and like let it slip or talk to tell a group of guys that I'm friends with that, oh yeah, I like it when my wife ties me up in bed, and then every now and then they just tease me about it. That's my fault for telling them. Like, you have to have the relationship where hey, have thicker skin so your people you are really close friends with can tease you about stuff because you can tease them. Some people don't have thick skin, so they can't do that, and they can't be in that kind of a relationship with friends. That's what happens.
But I'm saying there's a difference between teasing and judging. And I'm just... So there were...
judgment is part of everyday life. Everybody judges everything.
Okay, but then we get to choose who we're around. And the fact is that
that's
being
judgmental.
Yourself...
That's what judgment is. Do you not understand the circular logic?
I am 100% not on this side on the argument. Like, I'm completely on the other side of this. I think that you need to find support. You need to find communities that support you, but it's not an absolute that the people you surround yourself with don't necessarily have to be 100% supportive of all the things that you do, and you certainly don't have to share it all with them.
Right, you certainly don't have to share it all with them.
You can also have a good relationship with those people, even if you think that they're not going to be accepting of all the things that you do.
Okay, and
we disagree. I know we disagree.
Yeah, it's just the same way that I just think that gay people, it was this idea that they would hang out with others and there'd be a community that'd be like, okay, you can be gay and quiet, but we don't want to hear anything about it. I don't think that's really healthy for the person who's gay. So if you like to be tied up and you're terrified of somebody finding this out, I feel bad for you. I want you to be able to go find people. And there are lots of people who are okay.
Absolutely.
Aaron doesn't have to love being tied up or wanting to tie somebody up, but he doesn't judge me. He can think it's weird. He could tease me about it. That's okay. But he can still be like, cool, that's your choice and that's your freedom and that's okay. That's what I want for people, is this ability that if you choose to share, you're not afraid that suddenly somebody is not going to really appreciate and celebrate you.
I mean, that would be a really ideal world.
Yeah.
But I doubt, I don't know.
Well,
I mean, that's the same thing. I don't need to hear details, and it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, whatever. I don't need to hear all the details of your sex life, and okay, keep it to yourself. I don't care.
And that's totally okay, right? But it's this idea that if you slip and you say something, right? And again, I know, and I am a little biased because I have become so open about stuff. And I have definitely lost friends who are not comfortable with the fact that I am who I am. And if somebody asks me questions, then I don't lie, I don't fudge, and I kind of will tell them. And that makes them uncomfortable. They don't necessarily agree with my decisions and stuff in life. And that's okay. They get to have their life, but I have a choice, and I needed to find other people that are okay, that just accept me. They don't have to think it's a great idea or anything like that, but they still love me and they're not ashamed of me. That's all.
Yeah, well, I think the other way is absolutely also acceptable. You do not have to find a totally accepting community all the time. You can find a medium.
You can be with people that are ashamed of you, and that's your choice too. I just want you to make your decisions, and I'm going to support you.
Or you could just not say anything when you can gauge the situation, when not to say anything.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on. I find it adorable when my partner acts or dresses childlike when they engage in childlike activities such as coloring in a coloring book or playing on a playground. I could be sexually submissive now and be sexually dominant another time, either to the same or to another partner. Living with a group of slaves owned by me and serving me would be my ultimate life goal.
I used to joke, sometimes I still do, that I wanted Beth's stable of studs. Just a bunch of men that would serve me, and it does sound, there is an appeal to that, I have to say, but it's actually more practical. It's not my sexy turn on, but My house would be in way better shape if I had that.
It's no big deal when things I try turn out bad for me. It's part of the risk, and it's a necessary part of discovering what works and what doesn't. See, that one goes into a lot of detail where other ones that are just so black and white don't. Yeah, I would tell them they need to rephrase some of these. I enjoy keeping my partner as a pet, providing them with a cage, feeding them out of a bowl, petting and caressing them. If I could not fulfill all of my partner's sexual desires, I would encourage them to see other people to fill the gaps. I often behave in animalistic ways during sex, growling and howling, etc. If my sexual desires are not fulfilled with my partner, I would want to see other people to fill the gaps. I enjoy feeling like a predator hunting its prey. I like it when my partner takes on a nurturing and guiding, almost parental role in a relationship. I enjoy other people being naked or having sex. I mean, we classify that as
like a watching porn.
Yeah, is that classified as watching porn? Does that classify like a month ago or so? We were at a swingers club. Is that like, because we established it on that. There's a difference between watching porn and being at a swingers club and being a voyeur.
Right. So no, I don't think that's referring to porn.
Okay.
There might be other questions about porn. I frankly don't recall, but
okay. Mm-mm. Well, I mean, so the being naked thing, what would you classify like flashing as?
Flashing is a violation. That's an assault, because flashing is based on somebody else's non-consent, right? Your flashing is when you don't know someone and you force, you literally expose yourself to them.
You're not forcing them if you're at like Mardi Gras or something. Like that's beads are
different.
Consent.
Right. No, so Mardi Gras, that would be a different thing. So, but generally the flasher, right, the crimes and stuff is when you're walking down the street and somebody.
No, I'm not talking about a crime. I'm just talking about like
somebody at Mardi Gras, in a place where it's acceptable.
Would that be considered nudity, or would that be considered something completely different?
No, that would be like a little bit around nudity, like that you enjoy being exposed in crowds. Yeah.
I'd like my partner to submit to me 24/7, and I'm willing to take responsibility that comes with it.
That's a huge responsibility.
I like my partners to be completely in charge in the bedroom, ordering me around. If I could make some money from selling porn clips of myself, I definitely would.
That would be Tina.
I actually answered that question, funnily enough, with a no.
Really?
Because I would love to make money off porn. I just, again, like, I wouldn't do it just for the, like, purely out of the judgment of everyone I know. Honestly, like, I can't answer that question any better than that.
Yeah,
I would feel like my dad and my mother and, like, everyone I know would, like, have the, like...
Yeah, they'd have a fit.
The worst thing ever.
See, I know everybody would demand their money back. They'd be like, yeah, this is not what I signed up for. And be like, yeah, okay.
Oh, no, I could make some really quality videos.
Let's see. Being in fear of what my partner is going to do to me physically is arousing.
So that, again, some people, you might, if you're not used to this kinky lifestyle, that might be like, oh my God, why would anybody want to be in fear?
Not physical abuse, like going off and smacking the crap out of you.
Well, no, it might be. But it's stuff that you've consented to.
In a consensual sexual context.
Right. And so there are people that really want to be terrified. And then there are others that I say, I just want to be surprised. I don't want to know what's coming next. Yeah. And so a little bit of anxiety.
I think a lot of people can relate to that little anxiety.
Yeah.
You know,
so again, there's different levels.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel the need to serve my partner and treat them with the highest respect, addressing them as a superior.
See, these also weird me out. Like, I'm not here to judge it. I just can't wrap my head around a situation that I would totally be there to serve someone else's needs in any way, and then not be able to like is that for all situations? Like, you just go home and your partner says, clean the house and do all my laundry and like do everything, and like to me that just sounds like you're a housewife or whatever. Like,
well, okay, so what you're talking about is a couple of things. Hold on, let me back up for a second, because what that's talking about, and it says like refer to your person as a superior, so that can be like, please sir, may I have another, or please ma'am, may I kiss your feet, please ma'am, may I serve you, please ma'am, may I lick you, kiss you, please sir.
Yeah, it's addressing them, right? It's addressing them as a superior, not treating them as they were superior to you.
Well,
so that's you're talking about only in like sexual situation, but I'm talking about like go home and like.
Okay, so now within the realm of, let's say that you are in what's called a D/S relationship, okay, which is basically a dominant submissive relationship. Okay. Now, within that, it's like the same thing as being married these days. Okay. There are a lot of people who are married these days, and I promise you that every single couple has a different structure for their relationship. It used to be that if you were in a marriage, it was a man and a woman, and the men were responsible for this, and the women. We've broken that down,
and this seems like they're just reinforcing them to an extent.
Well, no, because this doesn't say who you're.
Right.
If it's the master,
gender.
it's not
You're
based
right.
on gender. And I'm telling you, so the difference is that there are some relationships where truly there is one person who is completely in charge. So think of it as a CEO, and the next level down, it's not that the other partner is like an executive vice president. It's like the other person is maybe, say, the housekeeper. Okay. And that basically the CEO is responsible for everything big, and the housekeeper's job is really just to do what the CEO tells them. And there are people who do that, and that's in the bedroom and that's out. Those would be called sort of 24/7 DS relationships, where one person really is leading it. Then there are people who only have like a DS when it comes to sexual stuff. And so that goes there, but in terms of their regular everyday life, they just look and act like any other married couple, which is that who knows what roles they've got, but they divvy it up somehow in a way that works for them. So you can do anything along the line.
Which one? What does it say? Read it again.
It says, I feel the need to serve my partner and treat them with the highest respect, addressing them as a superior.
So that's
It
more.
doesn't really specify what type of situation you're in.
Right. It just is saying that you want somebody. So this is going more to that sort of, do you want to be a submissive? If you're submissive, then there's a dominant that has more power and et cetera, gets to be, as I say, the director or the conductor in terms of creating and making things happen.
Here's what I really want to ask, and I don't want this to sound like rude or anything and not judgmental, but where does this kind of submissive, non-submissive lifestyle border on like just abuse? Like just abusing like the other person, or just it's like a matter of controlling. And I'm not, again, this is not coming out of like, but to me, if you let this be your whole life, like, or this is your whole life, I would look from the outside in and think that this may be an unhealthy relationship. Because in all other situations, if you went to a normal person's house and this guy, or like a vanilla household, but this person, even if it was the wife or the husband, was completely controlling the other person, telling them exactly what to do, and that other person was treating them as if they were a slave and coming around and, yes, honey, this, you'd be like, this is a little weird. Like, this is a little, like, there's something going, like,
okay.
To me, it's,
So, because what you're seeing is, if you don't know that it's fulfilling, right? If you see a person trying to fulfill a role and it's not actually fulfilling them, then that's not really good and that's not really healthy. Now, the joy is that within BDSM, again, the whole thing is predicated upon figuring out who you are and then finding somebody who matches that, so that whatever is within that relationship is of your own creation, of your own willingness. And that, therefore, it's serving both of you.
But
so
people must also, like, dive deeper and deeper into this kind of stuff. Like, they may start, you know.
And
then,
there's healthy, BDSM, DS relationships, and there's unhealthy, just like anything else. But let me give you an example, because one couple I saw, so actually, I'll back up, because the fact is, there are people that are walking around all the time that you may have seen that are in DS relationships, and from the outside you may have zero idea that that's actually it, because they're happy. They just are happy, and they're doing it in whatever way they want. Now, so one example was a couple, and I don't know, they were in their late 50s when I met them. They're like, one's an executive assistant, the husband is some professional, like very nice looking, smart, well-educated, well-spoken people who truly love each other. It's just amazing. And so you'd see them at restaurants and you would think totally vanilla, living a great lifestyle. Well, in their relationship, he is definitely the master, and she is not just the submissive, she is the slave. Like, he gets to decide what happens and when and how. And she is totally okay with it. Now, the responsibility that he has is huge, because if she's not happy, then she's going to leave.
Are you sure she's going to leave?
Yes, because so that's where you're talking about abuse. When people stay in something or feel stuck, that happens in marriages all the time.
A lot of times people don't even recognize it from when it's happening, and then you find yourself in a situation that.
But BDSM, the nice thing is that people are talking, and these are people who are involved in a community and stuff. So believe me, she's got support, she's got people to talk, you've got groups, and that's what happens.
Right,
so that way you're less likely to feel stuck, because people say, no, that's not okay. But they were happy. Now here's what was going on. She had a job that wasn't going well. It was just, she was killing herself. She was working too many hours. The pay wasn't good. People weren't treating her well. It was just draining her. And finally, the husband said, you can't do this. You have to quit your job, or I'm not in this relationship. I see what's going on, and out of concern for you and your health and your life and everything, you need to quit. And I'm telling you this as, as your dom, and the choice is yours. And she was very upset, and she thought about it for however long. She quit her job, and I met them, I guess this was 2 years later or something. Actually, I probably knew them, but not very well. But 2 years afterwards, she said, it was the best thing ever. She's like, I couldn't get out of it. And this is the problem, that some of us we are submissive. And in fact, it wasn't her relationship that was killing her. It was her work. And she wasn't strong enough to get out. And she needed her CEO, basically, her relationship
you don't find
in life.
something wrong with that, like inherently, that
because she agreed
able
to it.
Make that decision yourself.
Because we rely on our friends. We all have different things, and she did it willingly. And he wasn't mean and abusive. He was just like, this. If this isn't the way it is, then we can end the relationship, and I'll still be nice and support you. And he's a super great guy. But it was helpful. And so another interesting thing was that this woman, she said, when she was kind of a kid, her mother would say to her, I don't understand why sometimes, the mother told the husband when they got married, that sometimes this woman, she's like, she would go do something bad, and I would, so deliberately, I would spank her. Like, she just needed me to spank her and stuff. It was the weirdest thing. I hope you figure out. But she realized, that's the way that she would then release and cry and let it go. Because really, in the outside world, she was very, very strong appearance, but internalize things. So it can work. And I'm not saying it's for you. I'm not saying it's for anybody else. But to think that it can't work is just like saying that swinging can't work or this can't work.
It can't work, but to me, it just seems like there's a slippery slope into a situation where sex can, you can justify it because it's a sexual thing and in the bedroom, and then you can keep it in your house. But after that, I think that, the story that you frankly just told me is, it doesn't assuage my position, because the ability to not make a decision for yourself and rationally be able to say, okay, this is what my husband thinks, and he has this one position, and then, but am I strong enough to leave myself? Am I able to say this is the right thing? To me, I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the point. Anecdotally, it worked out, but what if it didn't work out? What if all of a sudden she quit, and then the person they put in her job got promoted to what she had been working for a year later, and then grows resentment in the relationship because you told me I have to quit and I have to obey you, and I just passed up the biggest fucking job opportunity of my career.
Yeah, and that happens. So shit happens. Sometimes we listen to our friends and they say, do this. Sometimes we're not sure if we should break up with our spouse. We all, we do. Things don't always work out well. But here's the deal. I actually have a whole CEO theory of relationships, and I don't think it's just within BDSM, but we'll talk about that. But I think that in this case, as a dom, that's the responsibility, is you better be damn careful, and you better be very smart, and you better accept responsibility. And if you make a bad call, then you're just going to have to own it and accept it and try to make up for it. But it's the same thing. I'm serious. Look around at any corporation. There are CEOs that have to make really big, tough decisions, and they do so. And sometimes they're right, and sometimes they're wrong. I don't think it's reasonable to say it's only outcome dependent. The question is, did they make the decision
on their own?
Did they make it in trying their best to consider everything? And so in a relationship, did the guy make a decision because based on what he thought was good for her?
See, this is the difference, is that you see relationships as you're not married, you're not close to getting married yet, But you see relationships, from what the way you're talking, is it's a partnership. Every major decision, am I quitting my job? Are we moving? Are we buying a new house? It's a joint decision.
No, I
it's
see
not
it as your own decision. Like, and you have to consider your partner, obviously, but I think in the end, you have to do what's best for yourself. That's the goal. That's to be happy, to be
in relationship. That's right. So you then have to figure out.
To be happy, not to be in a relationship. That's not the goal. To be happy in a relationship.
Yes, I totally agree. So it's just a question of what makes us happy. But I would say we've already gone so long. I'd love to talk about this more. I think we should do an episode and talk about my CEO theory of relationship, because I think it's exactly what we're talking about right here. So let's talk more about the BDSM test, and let's come back to this issue, because it's a big deal. And I think people really should be very cognizant before they get into a relationship, what they think that should look like for their sake.
Talking back to one's dominant in a teasingly disobeying way should be part of the sub's fun.
Yes.
I enjoy...
That's kind of what they would call, quote, a brat, is somebody like me who's submissive but doesn't really make it easy. So if you say something stupid, I'm going to call you on it. If you give me a loophole, I'm going to take it. Yes.
Okay. I enjoy verbally degrading my partner or calling them humiliating names during sex or BDSM. I enjoy it when my partner plays or acts like a pet animal or dog.
Yeah.
Pet
so
animal.
We've been through. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to be completely in charge in the bedroom and order my partners around. The idea of being tortured sexually is appealing. That's the thing, is torture is a funny word to use.
Well, but because torture is different for everybody,
and
so
I
it just
totally
depends.
get behind that.
Yeah, well, see,
because it says sexually. Like, it's not like I'm gonna go home and get
torture to you versus like torture to your boyfriend is completely different. Like,
torture to you versus me, right?
Like,
so, all right, so I think we're kind of going over. Is there anything else on there, Aaron, that we haven't already sort of?
We're at 75%.
Yeah.
So
I think most of them we've kind of covered and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I'll finish mine. Y'all go over your results real quick, and then I'll catch up with you.
Okay.
All
right. So, Tina, you want to kind of share? Mine is not a big secret. So
I am 88% submissive, 72% experimentalist, 59. I'll just go through like the first few and then the last two that I'm not, and then
and start with. So, do you know what experimentalist is? Right?
No.
Self-explanatory.
So, want to have tried it all. All open to mind and insatiable curiosity are the key features. Basically, just like you're open to experimenting,
right?
Which I am.
Yeah.
59% degradee, 57.
Okay, wait. So again, let's just clarify. So there are. So the degradee is like that you like somebody
to be
use,
degraded, humiliated,
right?
By their
be
play
called
partner,
slut or whatever, and stuff like that. Yes.
57% masochist. Mm-hmm. So someone who enjoys receiving a certain type of pain, usually in a sexual I'm just reading this. Usually in a sexual context. A rope bunny, which I have never heard of. Found 55% rope bunny.
Yeah, so rope bunny is there's a Japanese art called Shibari, which is tying people up with ropes. Very, very super cool. In fact, we should do a whole episode on that. It used to be way back in Japan, they didn't have metal, so when they got prisoners, they would tie them up. And if you had a high level person that you were presenting to the king or the emperor or something, you would really want them to appear. It's like packaging. So you would go to elaborate lengths to create different knots and everything so that people couldn't get out of it, but also it looked pretty. That's the art of Shibari. So rope bunny is commonly what people are called when they like to get tied up.
Mm-hmm. And chains, cuffs, spreader bars, etc.
And those are people within the BDSM community, right? That's this big category. But the fact is, rope bunny is usually associated with somebody who really prefers rope. And there's suspension. There's all sorts of shibari stuff. Yeah. But otherwise, people would call it being restrained.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm 50% vanilla, which honestly sounds completely correct.
Yeah.
45% switch. Switches will switch. Always taking a dominant or top position is not for them. Neither is always taking a submissive or bottom position. Probably true. But I would say more submissive than not.
Yeah, especially that's interesting because that submissiveness was at 86%
Yeah.
and stuff. But anyway,
Again, I think it's just
Yeah.
my idea. I think where this switch thing came from is like I couldn't answer completely on a lot of these like I completely want to serve my master all the time, just like out of a purely
the switch would have been, do you enjoy being in
right.
control?
But I think because I answered those neutral, and like
so, okay.
so 43% voyeur. We know voyeur.
Yeah,
is.
we've talked about that.
42% brat. Definitely could see that. Like 37% exhibitionist. We've talked about this before on the podcast. 34% non-monogamous. Definitely also could see that. 29% sadist.
Okay, that surprises me. Yeah, that's interesting that you'd
so
like
someone
to.
who like inflicts pain on their partner, usually in a sexual context. Again, not too high. And then it goes. Then this is all under 20%, basically. Rigor. I don't know what rigor is.
So rigor is the person who would do the shibari, who would do the rope, wants to be the one tying people up.
So basically how I thought of that, though, is it wouldn't be like super complicated rope play. It's just like, using like a tie, which I've done.
Or
something to your
handcuffs or
head.
anything
Yeah,
like that,
something like that. Or handcuffs. Then 16% dominant, 16% prey, primal, and then quotations prey. So I guess primals are the hunters of the prey.
Yeah.
4% slave, and this is between 4 and 3%. Slave, degrader, daddy mommy. What's daddy mommy?
That's like being the one in charge, being a more sort of nurturing, and think of that daddy mommy role as, for example, at school, if you had a teacher that you really liked and got along with, but
I
they
have
were
big
the
issues with teachers,
the superior,
but usually it's
role.
or like sleeping with your boss, or like
right,
a thing for
people
people in authority.
older and
but actually
authority.
It's only 2%, so
right.
I guess I don't know. It didn't.
Yeah, so daddy mommy would be that you want to be the one,
Sure,
to be there, versus like an age play kind of thing would be.
So the next one's
the boy
age
girl,
play,
yeah.
and these are all 0% for me. Age play, pet, owner, master, mistress, boy, girl, brat, tamer, and then primal hunter. So primal hunter would be the hunter.
Yeah, so brat tamers there are dominants who cannot stand. They don't want who's going to talk back. They want somebody who's just going to say yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, and go forward. So that's why the brat tamer is somebody who enjoys a little bit of that. I call it witty repartee, but some people find it annoying.
So basically, I would fall into, if you had to look at this, as someone who's a submissive, likes to be, obviously hasn't experimented much in this life. Like those would be, or in the kink community, because those are my top two. But could if I would and am open to, I would probably generally from like my past sexual history probably like being a submissive. So that's where I fall.
Interesting.
All right, what about you, Aaron?
Mine is actually so while you were reading, I was going through and looking where, like, when you would say I'm this category, I was looking at where mine are, and mine is very interesting because, like, the antithesis of each one is very close to the opposite. Like, they're very tightly paired.
Okay, which might mean that you're very much switchy.
Yeah,
right?
well, I'm
That you like both
100%
sides.
switch, apparently.
There you go.
And then it drops down. See, I don't like that this doesn't do 100% of everything. Like, it should be a total 100%. That way you can judge how much, like, you're more of one than the other. Anyways, 84% experimentalist.
Wow. I like that. That's why I appreciate you.
I mean, I've said it before. I've told my wife, anything that she thinks is going to turn her on, I'll try it.
That's
at least
awesome.
once. 83% rope bunny. 83% rigor.
Ooh.
Both the exact same.
Yes.
Both right next to each other.
Love that.
77% degrader, 76% degradee.
Ooh, yes.
That's so interesting.
Like,
getting all these,
yeah.
like...
72% submissive, 71% dominant.
I love that.
And then we take a little bit fall off a cliff. 65% vanilla. 58% brat. I don't think it took, like, I don't think that's me.
Right.
I like the idea of it, of
Right.
my partner being one. And so, like, yeah, I'm 58% brat, 56% brat tamer.
Yeah.
Like, I like the idea of my partner being it, but I don't want to be one myself. Like, that's why I think the questions probably could have been worded differently or been approached differently to determine that.
Okay, but so I argue, I might suggest, better than argue, that if you were confident that your partner was okay with it, I could actually see you being a brat, because you're kind of a brat here, right? You like to just say things to just piss us off. You just do. You enjoy that. You enjoy that in your day job and stuff too. And my guess is, if you didn't think like that, you don't in your sexy, because you don't want to piss off your wife and you don't think she'd like it. But I have the feeling if she liked it, that you would do that there too, because that's your personality.
I don't think it would make me. I don't think it. I would do it again if she liked it, but I don't think it would do anything for me.
Okay,
And,
maybe not.
like, I could be wrong, but like the rise I get out of people when I say just outlandish shit just to piss them off is hilarious to me. It in no way triggers any part of the chemicals in my brain that relate to the sex life.
Okay. Yeah.
At least that's how I mean, now there could be a doctor who hooks up to my brain and says I'm wrong.
Right.
But
if she liked it, so you might do it, and then she would respond like with something sexy or punish you sexy, and that would turn you on.
Yeah.
And that would, so getting that rise, right? That's what brat is.
Yeah.
It's a way of establishing a little bit of a connection or a zing or an energy that is, yeah. Okay.
50% voyeur,
Yeah.
44% primal prey.
Ooh.
Which to that, when I was reading those questions, I more read it as like, I would like to be hit on. Like,
yes, I get that. Right. You want a woman who's just out of control and who like grabs you and says, I need you right this minute.
well, like there's no bigger
that's-
ego stroke in the world, especially being a guy when you're at a bar and a woman hits on you, whether you're single or married, because it's even funnier when you're married and you be like, sorry, somebody's already got it. But 44% sadist, 38% masochist. Again, very fucking close. 37% primal hunter. So those are the only two things that separate those two from being right next to each other are the sadist masochist. 26% master, 24% exhibitionist. I think that might be my widest gap between two opposites. 17% pet, 9% non-monogamist, 9% owner, 8% slave, 6% daddy mommy, 0% boy girl, and 0% age player.
Wow.
So
You got way less 0% than I did.
yeah, I only got 2.
I have I have 8 0%.
2, 4, 6,
Damn.
8, 10. I have 10. 10
10
zeros.
0%?
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That means I'm just down for whatever.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm not. So mine, I'm 100% brat, 100% submissive, 100% degradee, 100% masochist, 100% rope bunny. Although actually, I don't. It's not the typical like Shibari. Like I don't want somebody to spend 2 hours tying me. I get bored. But I like to be restrained.
Yeah, who? I
Oh,
don't
people
know.
I like
do, and
that-
it's
I like to be
fabulous. It's
restrained.
beautiful.
Yeah,
I don't need.
that's
I
art,
don't
but,
have
like,
that.
as
I don't
an
have the
art
patience for
form,
that
but
either.
I don't think
Yeah.
that would turn me on.
No.
Yeah, and it
2
does for
hours.
some people. It's really amazing. But anyway, so then I'm 96% girl, you know, like I said, teenager, 95% pet, not because I want the cage and everything, but because I do want to be petted. I want to be owned. And I know that's silly, but I just have this longing for belonging and to be claimed. 91% voyeur, 83% exhibitionist, 75% primal prey, 67% slave, 57% age player, 50% experimentalist, and actually 43% non-monogamist, which is funny. But just because I'm okay, like in threesomes and whatever,
Yeah, I got
think.
34%, not too
Yeah.
far off.
And I'm only 36% vanilla. And that's just because I want the BDSM is part of what I want. Like it's a necessary, but I can't, like I'm not going to I'm not going to not have the other things that I want in life just for that. But then again, so, and then lots of zeros. So yeah, I think, and it's funny because I say I can switch. So I can be dominant. I coach clients all the time and I'm great with that because I know how to mentally get in to dominate people. And I can set that up to turn them on and I get pleasure, but I don't get turned on from it. It just gives me, it's like a fun head game. And that would be like with my stable of studs, I would just enjoy it in my head, but it wouldn't be a turn on for me to have a bunch of men
You
serving
just want a
me.
bunch of people to clean your house.
I do. And rub my feet and be nice to me and cook me dinners and yes. And just
I
basically.
mean, who doesn't want
Yeah.
a stable of men to
No,
do
stable
all
of
that?
I don't.
studs, let's be clear. Yes.
I'm good
Sure,
without it.
but what about
Stable
the
of
opposite?
Studs.
No, because then I have to put up with their bitchy ass whining and
No,
complaining.
they're your submissives.
Do I get
Right.
to like put
You-
them in fucking like, hey,
That's
shut your
right.
fucking mouth?
Yes, you can. There you go. Well, all right. Well, there you have it. So we thought we'd do this quickly, but we went off on some tangents. But
Yeah, if you stuck around,
Yeah, so
God
it
love
really
you.
is. It's so interesting. And there are, again, what this tells people is that there is so many options for you, whatever you're into. You don't have to take it all. It's not, you can be a tiny little bit kinky. You can be mostly vanilla. You can be anything and everything.
But definitely take the test.
Yeah,
It's
look at it. It's
freaking
fun.
awesome.
It's
You gonna
really
make your boyfriend
interesting.
take it?
I don't know. I would love if he did, but I'm sure he's just gonna read it
I think it's fun and interesting.
I mean, I think
But
everyone
really,
should take this
I
test.
would like to do one that is not so heavy into the kink, because the fact is, I think there are a lot of people who have been very traditionally vanilla who would enjoy a lot more play and a lot more sensation and stimulation and all these things and play with power dynamics, but just not to this extreme, right? And so anyway, that's my mission, is to try and teach people how they can get tastes and they can figure out what it is that they like without just thinking it's all or nothing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, one of these days we'll
Anyway.
have to, a while from now, because I think people are going to be quizzed out with us. There's one called Mojo Upgrade that apparently we need to take.
Oh, all right.
That usually is for two partners. So you take it, your partner takes it completely blind of each other, and then it just matches up the, not kinks, but the interests you have.
I love that.
Okay, and so the problem I have, we should
We'll
talk
get to
about
that
that.
one
Yeah,
day.
exactly. But because I'm afraid sometimes then we put people in
Yeah.
a yes or no, and that's not good. I really want people to be in a maybe thing. But anyway, so we definitely should talk about that. But anyway, all right, we're going to go. This has been wonderful fun. I am Beth Darling, your sexy genius, founder of sexyedschool.com. And please go to sexyedschool.com, and we've got all sorts of classes on there for cunnilingus, blowjob, and prostate pleasure. So go check them out and find my YouTube and anything and everything else there. Get on my mailing list. And Aaron, tell them what do we want? Please.
Get in touch with us on social media. At Come With Us Podcast on Facebook and on Instagram. At Come With Us Pod on Twitter. You can email us any of your thoughts, dirty or otherwise, to comewithusconfessions@gmail.com. That's comewithusconfessions@gmail.com. You can hit us up there. Anything, what you like, what you don't like.
Tell us what you learned from
fantasies
this
you have.
test.
Yeah, your results from the test, too. We won't share it on air. We won't go out there and blast you. Don't worry about privacy or anything like that. I'm pretty big on privacy, and these two aren't, so I have a heavy iron hand when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, get in touch with us there. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, not iTunes, Apple Podcasts now, make sure you rate us, leave a review, rate us 5 stars, hopefully, and let other people or help other people find us.
Please, 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 please give us a review. Please. Means a lot to us.
And don't forget, COVID Connections is out. It's been out for, 2 weeks now?
Yes.
3 weeks?
COVID Connections,
Wow.
a collection of erotic short stories written by our friends and family and amateur writers who write beautifully. And oh my goodness, so many kinky. If you haven't listened to our podcast, we did a little erotic reading. So go back and catch that one. COVID Connections. It was a sneak peek. So yeah. And go to Amazon and order yours now. COVID Connections, a Darling Way collection of erotic short stories. Thank y'all for being here. It was such a pleasure. And Come With Us Podcast. We're here when you want the bare naked truth about love, sex, and relationships. I'm Beth Darling, your sexy genius. And thanks again, Aaron and Tina. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Come With Us podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media at Come With Us Podcast and send in your questions, comments, and confessions to comewithusconfessions@gmail.com. Until next time, keep it fun, flirty, and naughty.